Tyson Fury has lost for the second time in his professional career to Alexander Usyk, and this time it was unanimous. In some ways, he was better in this rematch. It was a slightly different approach. He was a little bit more aggressive. He wasn't as aggressive as how he was saying he was going to be, but a little bit more aggressive. Ultimately, it was the same result. Alexander Usyk picking up a win, this time by unanimous decision. And straight away, Tyson Fury, he left the ring, didn't give an interview. I haven't looked at the full post-fight press conference or anything like that, but he's saying robbery and this, that, and the third. As long as he's not, well, at least hopefully this time he doesn't start making, absolutely ridiculous, theories and saying stuff like, oh, we only got it because of the conflict in Alexander Usyk's country. I mean, that right there, I don't really hold Tyson Fury, the person, in high regard. When I heard that, Jesus Christ. That's all I thought when I heard that. There's not a lot of sympathy on the part of Tyson Fury, and you see a lot of his fanboys, his deluded fanboys, mind you, a lot of them have gone quiet. Now, Tyson Fury is, I think it's fair to say, quite a polarizing figure. I think that's fair to say in the world of boxing. And this loss to Alexander Usyk, judging by what I've seen online, there's virtually no sympathy for him. And I'll rewatch this fight. I've watched this fight live. When you watch it live and do a live reaction, and you have comments coming at you literally every 5 seconds, people are saying this and they're saying this and someone's scoring it like this. So you're kind of looking at a fight and you're thinking, all right, have I missed something? If someone scored this or scored like this, have I actually missed something? So I'll rewatch it tomorrow in the co-light today. I'll watch it probably with the commentary on because, why not? I've already seen it with the commentary off. And I will give a full assessment probably tomorrow. But going to my head, who do I think won the fight? Alexander Usyk. I think he just edged it. I might watch it and come to the conclusion that he didn't just edge it, that, it's a fairly clear-cut win. When you look at the punch stats, and I know a lot of the punches were body shots, but when you look at the punch stats, I mean, it shows Alexander Usyk clearly was superior. He actually threw less and landed at a higher connect percentage. So he threw less, landed more. So that kind of sums it up there. But Tyson Fury, as I said, a polarizing figure, and there's not many people who are sympathizing with him. Not that he necessarily deserves it, because very competitive fight, and arguably Alexander Usyk, rightful winner. I mean, many people would say clearly. Why is that? Now, Alexander Usyk is someone who is very much respected by the hardcore fans, the people who would, like myself, who would make videos, content creators on YouTube, who are very much independent, and we give our own thoughts, and a lot of the times our opinions are our own, at least that's how it seems. I always say, like, what I say is what I believe. If I believe someone's going to win, that's what I'll say. And if I don't believe they'll win, I've always got a lot of flack, because I've always said that I never really tend to pick the Irish fighter whenever they're fighting, because I just don't think they're good enough, a lot of them. A lot of people say, oh, why can't you just pick the Irish fighter? Because, well, that wouldn't be my actual thoughts. It wouldn't be right. So I always go with what I believe, and I've been wrong many times, I've been right many times, but I always say, what I feel. With a lot of guys, in the boxing establishment, the media establishment, they're pushing agendas, simple as. And the lack of respect they've given a fighter as accomplished as Alexander Usyk is absolutely disgusting. And I will do a separate video on that. I'll do a separate video giving my 2 cents on Alexander Usyk and the lack of respect that he's been given, because it's absolutely disgusting. And I would go as far as saying that. The fact of the matter is that you have people like Simon Jordan who claim to be, very intelligent, this, that, and the other. This is a guy who is basically acting like the first fight didn't happen, and said openly that if Tyson Fury loses, well, he didn't say he's not going to give Usyk credit, but he basically did, because he's just going to say, well, Fury's passed it. And I'm sure with this one, he's just going to be saying robbery, 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 and then he'll be saying robbery again. That's how he's going to spit it. He won't give the man his flowers. I'll talk about that in a separate video. But why is it so impressive for Alexander Usyk? Because, as I said, he had the boxing establishment pretty much against him. They spoke in such a way that it was like the first fight never happened. And this is a man, Tyson Fury, who is not someone who you would look to as a potential role model. This is not a man who has even helped people like TalkSport. The slightest hint of criticism, and it's not even necessarily, it's not like they're trying to deliberately criticize him. I mean, everyone, you can criticize things about Usyk performances. You can criticize things about anybody. You know, if you look deep enough, you can say, oh, well, I wouldn't have done that. Any little hint of criticism, and he is saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this. And yet they are absolutely, you know, just bowing at his feet. Why? That's just why. And it's like that with others as well, you know. In my opinion, Usyk didn't just beat Tyson Fury, he beat the boxing establishment. He beat pretty much everyone who was, you know, backing Tyson Fury, because it seemed almost inevitable that he would get some favourable treatment. And the man, when you look at how high the shorts were, they were up to his chest almost. It was crazy, and that was allowed. Some illegal tactics he was doing, you know, punches to the back of the head, holding his arm out, which you're not allowed to do, and the referee just saying nothing. Like, what? It's bizarre. Tyson Fury, I doubt someone who necessarily believes in karma. A lot of people were saying that in the immediate aftermath of this fight, karma. I can't say that I'm necessarily someone who does believe in it, but if it does exist, we are pretty much seeing it with Tyson Fury. And if anything, this is a man who absolutely deserves it. I want to point out, Tyson Fury, the fighter, is tremendous. He is a tremendously talented fighter. Even in this fight with Alexander Usyk, although he lost it, you can see the talent on display when he switches up his stance from southpaw to orthodox seamlessly. The shot selection, there's so much and this is not a prime Tyson Fury. So you can only imagine. And you can look back, you know, with Muhammad Ali, we in many ways lost his prime years because he was banned from boxing because of, you know, the draft and all that kind of stuff. So we lost, I think, from 67 to 70 thereabouts. He wasn't fighting. I think that was roughly when it was, 67 to 70 or 68 to 71, thereabouts. We arguably lost his prime years. And you could say the same with Tyson Fury, because from 2015 to 2018, that was it. He wasn't fighting. You know, he fought Klitschko in 2015. His next fight was Seffa Safiri in June 2018. We lost those years. God knows the type of fighter we could have had in those years. It could have been something really special. When he came back, it was like, it's something completely different, you know. Great fighter, and he still is a great fighter, but as a person, people, this is a guy who, if karma exists, I mean, some would argue he's probably not got enough of it, to be honest with you. This is a guy who treats his fans like absolute crap. You know, he presented himself as being a man of the people, saying that he'd give his Wilder purse from the first fight to charity, which he never did. Listen, it's your purse. You do what you want with it. If you want to spend it on whatever, that's your prerogative. You can do that. But don't go and say you're going to try and help people and then not do it, not follow through with it. Why would you do that? And then following on from that, he tries to sell himself as a world champion, a lineal champion. And then he tries to sell fights on pay-per-view, because he put Tom Schwartz on pay-per-view in the UK as a world title fight. An absolute cream puff like him, world title fight, you're selling that on pay-per-view? Really? And your fans are paying for it? What? And then you're having the audacity to say that you're all about legacy. Legacy, brilliant, legacy. But you're charging your fans to watch you fight a pudding in Tom Schwartz. You beat Deontay Wilder. Brilliant performance, absolutely brilliant. Did very well in that fight. Arguably, that's the best performance of Tyson Fury's career. Arguably, that was even better than he looked against Klitschko. Because the fact he had to change up his style, this was years after the fact, 4 or 5 years thereabouts after the fact, he looked brilliant. He looked, on that night, you could argue he looked better than he did against Klitschko. And again, you see the great fighter. Then, what does he do? He strings the fans along. Oh, I'm going to fight in the Royal Albert Hall. No, I'm not. Did you remember that? He was meant to fight, he was taught about fighting the Royal Albert Hall. Christmas bonus, Christmas present to feed people. Even if it was a little run out, he was going to do something. Didn't do that. Oh, we're going to fight Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia. It's all signed and sealed. It's all done. Mark my words, the announcement's coming. All the while, there's an arbitration here with Deontay Wilder, which obviously his promoter, Bob Arum, co-promoter, is a lawyer, obviously knows he's going to win, but yet he's gassing the fans up. They're thinking, we're getting Joshua Fury, we're getting Joshua Fury, and we don't. And then we get this trilogy fight with Deontay Wilder that no one asked for. Yeah, it was a good fight, fair enough. Then we're like, okay, you've got past that. Usyk is now champion. He's beaten Joshua. Joshua is saying he'd be willing to take step-aside money. And then you're saying, no, I need a tune-up fight. You've just fought Deontay Wilder. What more of a tune-up do you need? Okay, you're fighting Dylan White, you're mandatory. Fair enough, right? Fair enough. You fight Dylan White, you're mandatory. You're going to fight Usyk now. No. Man of the people. You get interviewed by True Geordie, and True Geordie asks you in a very respectful way questions that were not difficult. Why is he asking you these questions? Because you are putting, instead of chasing undisputed, instead of fighting a contender, a legit contender, you have a trilogy fight with Derek Chisora, who had only won one fight in, I think, his last four. I'm sorry, one fight in his last four, because he lost to Usyk, he lost to Parker twice, and he beat a shot to bits Kubrat Pulev in July of 2022. And you fight him on pay-per-view. You say you're a man of the people and you're a man about legacy, and you charge a UK record pay-per-view price. They didn't even charge that much when Joshua rematched Ruiz, which was a much bigger fight and had much more on the line. They didn't even charge that much for that fight. And you, Tyson Fury, the man of the people, charged that fight. Coming up to Christmas, you did that. And when True Geordie asked you and caught you out contradicting, what did you do? You threw your toys out of the pram. And your fans still, they're all haters. Excuse me, they're all haters. Right? They will call anyone who critiques Tyson Fury a hater, who points out the inconsistencies. They'll call him a hater. You should see some of the comments they leave on my videos and Hatman's videos, or other people as well, when they talk about Anthony Joshua, and they're saying overtly racist things about him. They're mocking Alexander Usyk's appearance. They're mocking this, that, and the other. They're saying horrible things. Oh, but Fury said this 1 minute. Oh, you're a hater. Yeah, you're a hater. You're a hater. Do you even understand how stupid you guys sound? Seriously? And those receipts are there for the world to see. So there you go. He does that. He beats Chisora, obviously. Was expected. Then it's like, right, no obstacles now. Usyk beat Joshua, no more rematches, all good. Fury's clear, no mandatories. Let's get this fight on. Let's get it on. And he spends the whole part of early 2023 just gaslighting the fans, making it obvious that he doesn't want the fight, saying that Alexander Usyk has to take a lower offer, which he accepts, saying he's taking an even lower offer, which he accepts on the condition that he donates money to Ukraine, obviously the conflict that's going on over there, and he doesn't do it. And he moves the goalpost again, and again, and again, and again. And then Alexander Usyk says, do you know what, I've got a mandatory, I've got to go elsewhere. And then he uses that to say, see, he never wanted to fight. Well, your trainer, Sugar Hill Stewart, during the time, came over to the UK. He came over to the UK to train Lawrence Okoli. And then he flew back home, and he admitted he had he had a return flight. So he knew coming over, he wasn't coming to train Fury for the Usyk fight. He was coming to train Lawrence Okoli for a fight with David Light. Fury had no intention. Your own trainer let the cat out of the bag. He did that. Your own trainer. And of course, John Fury, his dad, being a bully, the bully that he is. Oh, me and Sugar Hill have issues. Yeah, he's still in the team, and you're not. So now you've got even more issues. Go figure. After that, you're like, well, what's he going to do? Is he going to fight, is he going to fight a contemporary? Frank Sanchez was highly ranked and undefeated at the time. Andy Ruiz was mentioning this, that, and the other. You're going to do something. He fights Francis Ngannou. And when that fight was announced, there was a lot of backlash because it's not a world title fight. He's not a contender. He's never even had a professional boxing match. Oh, yes. And when Adam Cattrall asked Frank Warren on TalkSport about that, Frank Warren exploded. What planet are you on? Who is Frank Sanchez? He doesn't draw any money. Frank, you put Fury versus Tom Schwartz on and you sold that as a world title fight. And you're having a go at Adam Cattrall for saying, why doesn't he defend his title against Frank Sanchez? Who's Frank Sanchez? Who the hell was Tom Schwartz? What's he done before and after? Nothing. Seriously. And that was what happened. That was what he was saying. He fights Ngannou, looks terrible, right? And only because Turki Al-Ashik came into boxing, made Fury an offer he couldn't refuse, and the backlash as well, he finally fights Alexander Usyk. And he loses, fairly convincingly. And you think, would he have the dignity? John Fury probably wouldn't, but would he have the dignity to accept that loss fairly? No. And he goes and says the only reason he got the decision was because of the conflict in his country. As if you think he could stoop any lower. And now God only knows what he's going to say. This is Tyson Fury. This is the supposed good guy. Great fighter, but this is supposed good guy out of the ring. Hell no. And everything I've said there, you can go back. The receipts are there. They're there. So, do I believe in karma? Not necessarily, but if it is true, Fury has received it twice now, and it's well deserved. I don't know what he does from here. To be honest with you, I don't really care at this point. With Tyson Fury, it's the same old. If he'd have beaten Alexander Usyk, would it have meant that, you know, you could get the Joshua fight? You can maybe get, you know, big numbers and stuff like that. Yeah, probably. It's probably better for my channel. Not necessarily. My channel's pretty good. It's still growing pretty well. But in terms of just, you know, general views and stuff like that, it's probably better if Fury won. But that wouldn't be right. My channel grows just fine anyway. But you know what I mean? In terms of, you know, making these big fights. But the right guy won. It's as simple as that. And this is a guy who, outside the ring as a person, I mean, I used to like Tyson Fury back in the day. I thought he was an okay guy. Maybe he was always wearing a mask and now the mask has just come off. And maybe now, you know, you reap what you sow, as the saying goes. You want to give out all that negative energy. You want to be an absolute you-know-what to all these people. You want to be an absolute you-know-what to the people who you're fighting, calling them this, that, and the other while they're respectful. And then you wonder why all of a sudden things aren't happening for you. You're not getting any favours. You're getting plenty of favours, but not as many as you want. This is a guy who had to bully his way. He was literally bullying Chris Mannix. Now, Chris Mannix, to be fair, he looks like someone you'd want to bully. But even when they were doing that interview where Chris Mannix is scoring fights and he was being super generous to Tyson Fury, he still count every shot. Yo, geez, that's not a good idea to count every shot because you got hit plenty. You got hit more than Usyk. Honestly. I'll leave it there. If karma is real, Tyson Fury got his dose. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Smash the like button if you could, hit subscribe if you haven't already. I'll leave it there. Peace.